Hey everyone, welcome to part 2 of Brilliant Women Dating Up. I hope that you were able to watch last week's episode of Brilliant Women Dating Up. We went over a lot of really important information. We talked about self-esteem, that women try to prove that they're not better. We talked about how a lot of women don't want to make a mistake. So we're going to continue on this week. We have some more great information to share. I'd like to remind you that this is week 2. We're going to be actually going live again next week for week 3. And then we've got 4, 5, and 6. So if you have not done so already, let me just recommend for you to go ahead and like the events for 3, 4, 5, and 6 so that you get reminders that they're coming up. Some of the times and days change. It might be either at 8 or 8:30. It might be on Thursday. I had to kind of figure out my schedule, but I wanted it to be every single week so that there was momentum being built. So I wanted to make sure that everyone was able to come on. Hi, Kathy. And as you come on, please make sure you say hello. I love the fact that people are coming on. And if there's any questions, please ask, because I am here to be of service to you. So I have the points that I would like to share, but if there's a question that you have, definitely feel free to ask those questions, because I'd like to make sure that you're getting a lot of clarity from watching these videos. So hello to everyone. If you have not liked Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt in general, just go ahead and go click the like and follow button on Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, because there are lots of great resources there. And if you have not done so already, we have our YouTube channel, Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, and our SoundCloud podcast, Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt. So please make sure you check those out. I'm also just going to give myself a little plug that my book is actually in the stage where it is being uploaded so that I can bring it into the world to be sold. So book number 2 is about ready. The cover's not there yet. So I've got like 2 more steps, and then we're going to be able to start, letting you know when an exact date is to buy that book. So I would say in the next 2 weeks or so, keep your eyes open for that. So a lot of really exciting stuff that is going on. So, and I'll share other exciting things that are going on too, because there's just so much great stuff. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I want to stay in integrity. I want this to be about 30 minutes. So if there's any questions, again, please make sure that you ask them. But today, I wanted to go into a little bit more detail with Brilliant Women Dating Up. And I know some people question, they say, are you a dating service? Or, what is it exactly that you do? What do you mean by Brilliant Women Dating Up? So for those of you who are still questioning, what do I mean by that? I want you to think about relationships that you have had ever in your whole life. And when you have dated people, have they been people that were at the same level as you, meaning that they have similar experiences as you do, similar backgrounds as you do, similar hopes and dreams as you do? Or are they people that you feel kind of like you are trying to reach down and pull them up? And I know people get really defensive. When I say something about reaching down, people get defensive. What I mean by that is there are some people who are doers, who want to go out and change the world and do things. They want to, get some degrees. They want to get a good job. They want all these great things, and they're doers. And there are other people that are not. And I'm not saying anything negative about people that are not. Everyone has their own journey. But when you are someone who is a doer, being with someone who is a not doer can feel really draining. So when I'm saying date up, I'm talking about people that are dating up at your level, looking to achieve and do similar things that you are looking to do. So, I remember with my first marriage, sitting on the couch and watching television and feeling so drained, because I hate watching television. I actually like to get up and do things and move around. And I just remember thinking, wow, is this going to be my life? This is what we do. And of course, between that and the unhealthy verbal and physical abuse going on, it was just pretty much a nightmare. I just remember watching just days go by and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not traveling. I'm bored by watching TV. I just feel like I'm doing a whole lot of nothing, because that's who I am. I like to do a lot of different things. And when you're with the right partner, that person actually will help elevate you to new levels. And when you're with the wrong partner for you, then they're going to drag you down. And so, these are the things that I really want to talk about when we go through this whole series, is really looking at the people that are bringing us down and how that happens. So the first thing that I want to share is we wanted to talk about, there's 2 different points that we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to give you some little tidbits for each one of them. So the first question is, why do so many date down? So that, we started talking about that. So there's kind of a few reasons, but they all are kind of the same at the same time. So just bear with me and just pay attention, because this is really going to be, it's the same but different. You'll get what I mean in a few minutes. So what is one of the big reasons why women date down? All right, so I'm going to say the big one first. Society. We are still in a male-dominated society. We are still in a place where men rule the roost, and it is still considered socially acceptable for the man to be the breadwinner and the woman to be the stay-at-home mom who takes care of the children. Nothing wrong with that at all, but that's still what society is. And so when women say, hey, I don't want to stay home with the kids, I want to do other things, I want to I want to get a degree, I want to be in school, I want to have a great job that I love, and I want all that experience. Society says they want it, but then they don't do a lot of things to make us feel welcomed by that. So for a lot of women, they are working all these hours, but the person that they're with is working all these hours too. However, the female is still expected to do the cooking, the cleaning, the childcare, all that other stuff. So that's not really a supportive environment. So a lot of women still feel like, hey, maybe I'm asking too much to be this go-getter and to do all of these things. And there's this subconscious sabotaging thing that women do to try to almost like lower themselves, to limit themselves, to dull their shine so that they don't shine too brightly, to overshine their significant other. And a lot of times that overshining the significant other is because the significant other isn't the right fit. They're not the right partner. Like with David and I, he doesn't mind if I'm out there, sharing my light with other people. That doesn't dull him down at all. In fact, he loves it. He loves saying, hey, my wife is out there changing the world and giving women, empowering women to change their lives. He thinks that's amazing. He is always, last night he said to me, he's like, I just think it's so great. I've never had anyone or known anyone that had quite as much grit. To be with someone who sees that and appreciates that, and it doesn't take away from who they are, is the type of partner that us strong, independent women need. We do not need someone who's going to be embarrassed or insecure because we are strong, independent women. So give me some thumbs up if you've noticed any of that. That maybe the people that you were with try to dumb you down, or you try to kind of dumb yourself down because you don't want to shine too brightly and overshine the person that you're with, because it's almost like, well, they're the guy, they're supposed to be more than me. It's interesting when you have, Mr. and Dr. so-and-so and people get confused. This is pretty much 2020. We are allowed to have women that are in great careers doing wonderful things, but there's still that little bit of discomfort when the woman is the one who is the achiever, or the woman is the one that's really trying to push forward and do all these great things. So society is definitely part of it. If you listen to music, you watch movies, you'll definitely see it in all of those things. Now, another thing that I want to bring up when it comes to that, and I think this is excellent. So last week, I went to a top 50 women in business awards, and it was amazing to see so many brilliant, beautiful, wonderful women that were receiving awards in entrepreneurship for all the great stuff that they do. And the motivational speaker who was there reiterated a story that my half-sister had told me. And I want to share it with you because I think it's so important. And it's more than just jobs. So I'm going to talk about jobs, but I'm going to go into a little bit more detail with that. So there was a study done, and during the study, they asked women who were looking to get a job, and they said, hey, what would happen if you got a job or you were offered a job as a CEO? And so a lot of the women said, well, I don't know. I don't know if I would be qualified enough. I don't know if I have the experience. I'm really not quite sure. So, make it a little bit funnier. You have a woman who's being offered a job as a person who can breastfeed. And the woman's like, well, I don't know. And a woman who's had 2 children. So let's just throw that in the mix more too. I don't know. I've had experience, but maybe not that much experience. Maybe I could do some more reading. I can learn a little bit more. Maybe at some other time I'll be able to get that position as the professional breastfeeder. All right. So I'm being silly, but there's a reason for it. Now they go and ask the guy, hey, there's a job opening for a professional breastfeeder. Here's what the guy is going to say, typically. Well, my wife breastfed our babies. I saw her do it a whole bunch of times. I have a really good feeling that I could figure it out. I'll just jump in there and I'll read books and I'll figure it out as I go, and I'll do it. I'll take the job. And the funny thing is that in the real world, the guy who doesn't have boobs to breastfeed, in this example, will get the job. And the reason why is because the female will not even try to go for that position, even though she is qualified, even though she is able to do it, even though she has training and experience and all of those things. So why do I share that story? Because we're not about entrepreneurship, right? We're about empowering brilliant women to date up. Women, we do the same thing in our relationships. Guys will go for the woman that he thinks is out of his league because why not? I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll change to be someone different. Maybe I'll show her the things that she wants. There's all of those different things that go on for the guy. The girl, on the other hand, the female, on the other hand, is thinking, well, he's got some things, but, I'm not sure if maybe I deserve a healthier relationship. Maybe just relationships are hard, and I want that, rugged guy. And if I'm going to have that strong, rugged, individual guy, then I need to have someone who maybe is not as spiritual as I am, or who's not as, doesn't have as much grit as I do, or, the woman will more easily question herself, where the guy's like, she's hot, she's smart, might as well try. We'll see what happens. The female's like, well, I'm not going to go for that guy who's really doing the stuff that I want to do because he's out of my league. She'll go for the guy who's not in her league, in a lower sense of the term, and he'll be the one, they're the ones who end up together. Because we don't go after what we want. We're afraid to go after what we want because we're afraid that we're not good enough. So there really is this fear, even with the most independent, strong women who are business women, who are powerful in all of these different ways. There are so many of us that when it comes to relationships, we are still kind of pushed down by what society has said, what we have been taught, and our own limiting beliefs when it comes to relationships. And, if we were taught that relationships are difficult, that people are unhappy in relationships take work. There's no perfect person. This was one of my favorites that I used to hear. Everyone's going to have shit. It's just whose shit are you going to deal with? Those were all things that I was told. Oh, another one. First years of marriage are always difficult. You just have to figure it out. All of those things that people might say meaning well are actually hurting. They're not actually helping the situation at all. So for me, when I was in those toxic relationships, I was thinking, okay, well, all relationships are hard. This is hard. He might not really be the greatest fit, but maybe I'm being too full of myself. Maybe I need to be more open-minded and more understanding. Maybe if I just, hang out with different people, maybe if I, say something different, if I'm not so opinionated, so then there starts being those questions, because I came from a place of having lower self-esteem to begin with, which is where a lot of us come from, and then here I was in this situation. So it's never just a black and white. There's a lot of gray when it comes to human beings. And so when you have the perfect storm of low self-esteem, society, fear of standing out, list goes on and on and on, we're creating that perfect storm for women to not be dating at their same intellectual, spiritual, emotional, physical, working, social levels. We are dumbing ourselves down with people that we should have never dated to begin with, and then we're trying to force it to work. So that really is, and then I guess the other part is that we don't want to we don't want to be looked at negatively. So, okay, so here we are. We forced a relationship that wasn't there, and then we're really afraid to look bad. We don't want to look like a failure. And then you throw that in. You're like, wait a minute. So we are dating people that we shouldn't be dating. We know that it's not right. But then because we are successful, brilliant, beautiful women, we're so used to being successful in so many other parts of our life. Well, now I don't want to look like a failure because I succeed at everything. Does that sound familiar to anyone who's watching? Because that was me. I bought a house at 21. I had, a double master's degree. I had done all these wonderful things. I had traveled. I had done all these cool things. I was a doer who achieved and always was able to accomplish my goals. Well, it was embarrassing to me that in the relationships part, I was always failing. So instead of realizing, hey, I'm dating the wrong people, I would hold on that much tighter to the wrong person, try to make it work, and not admit, hey, I made a mistake. I need to end this relationship. Because then the insecurities of society saying, well, women by themselves, we have all these negative names for women being by themselves. I don't want to be by myself. I don't want to be single because single is so terrible in my mind. So it's just kind of like you peel back the layers of all the different reasons of why we stay in these unhealthy relationships, because we don't want to look bad. We don't want to look like we're a failure, but instead we are failing more. When we are holding on to the relationship that doesn't suit us, we are actually failing at the relationship. Where if we actually let it go, when we said, hey, this is not the right fit for me, and we let it go, that would be success. A healthy person, that would be success, because we don't want to waste our time. Healthy people, we don't want to waste our time with people that are going to drain our energy or try to bring down our shine, because we're too busy out there doing great stuff when we feel good about ourselves. So what a lot of us do, and this is what my best friend would say to me, she'd be like, you're like this bird that keeps trying to fly. And then as soon as you start to soar, it's like it's almost too much. And this weight attaches to your leg. And that weight is a relationship. And that weight just brings you down. And you're so used to trying to soar with that weight, it feels natural for you. That feels like the normal thing. But I'm going to tell you right now that when we let that weight go and we allow ourselves to just soar, it makes life so much easier. It is so much easier to do all the great things when we don't have to push against a wall, when we don't have someone bringing us down, when we don't have someone else telling us we can't, or what are you thinking, or they have different thoughts about what they want in life. And again, even if there's no verbal abuse or physical abuse or any of those things, there are still just some people that are not the right fit for us. And as soon as we admit to ourselves that that is okay, we are not meant to be liked by everyone. We are not meant to have an intimate relationship with everyone that we meet. There are few and far between people that I have in my little circle, and that's okay. And when it comes to someone that you're having a sexual romantic relationship with, that you want to be the best friend and get to have sex with them too, then it should be someone that's helping you to soar. And that means having similar values, similar interests, and the ability to help each other be catalysts for better versions of yourselves. Too many of us are with people that make us worse versions, and we're still doing amazing things. That's what's so brilliant with you ladies, is that you're still out there doing brilliant, beautiful things, even with that lead weight. So just give yourself a second and think about what it would be like if you were able to let go of that weight, if you didn't have that bringing you down. And hi, Kelsey. Hi, Sharon. I'm seeing people come on, so hi, everybody. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any time. All right, so the next one is, how can we change these patterns? So that's going to be a big one that I know a lot of people would like to get more information about. And of course, we're going to talk more about this, but I see this in my clients all the time is the patterns. It was me, the patterns. This is the kind of stuff that we do over and over and over again. And, with our system that we use that is, that I created based on my experience in overcoming unhealthy relationships and what I use with my clients, I see the same thing. So I'm familiar with what a lot of us are thinking and doing. So one of the things that I think is important to realize is that women who have been in these toxic relationships don't trust themselves. And the reason why they don't trust themselves is because I'm going to go back to what I said earlier about knowing that the relationship is not right for them, but staying anyway. So they know that it's not good, but they do everything in their power to hold on to it. And then they don't trust themselves, because there might be parts of them that say, Stephanie, it's time to leave. You got to get out of here. We don't have the same interests. We don't have the same values. This is going nowhere. That this is wasting your time. Why are you holding on? And then there's a little part of you that's like, I'm scared. I'm scared to be alone. I'm scared to go through all the process of ending this relationship, not having the society's version of a perfect happy couple, pretending to be something that we're not. And so we stop trusting ourselves. And then all of the times that we haven't trusted ourselves just reiterates the fact that we are not trustworthy. Think about the times that you have said, oh, next week I'm going to go on a diet. Next week I'm going to end that relationship that's not healthy. Next time I'm going to speak up and say what's on my mind. And we don't do it. And those things keep happening over and over again so that we stop trusting ourselves. We don't believe what we say we're going to do because the past, the history has shown us that we're not honest. We're not being honest with ourselves. So the lack of the ability to trust ourselves is probably the number one reason why we stay in these unhealthy patterns. Going along with the trust is the shame. Shame and guilt will keep us trapped in every negative aspect that we can think of. When I work with clients, we talk about abuse, sexual abuse, we talk about physical abuse, we talk about all these different types of abuses, and the shame and guilt over having experienced these things is really what holds us back. They are keeping us from getting to the level that we should be able to get because we're not letting that go. And I'm going to tell you right now, we're not able to let that go on our own. This is where the importance of having that coach, having that mentor, having that person who's on the outside is so important because we're smart people. We're strong people. I mean, I had a degree in psychology and was a crisis counselor, and here I was in this toxic, abusive relationship. I knew better. But sometimes we need someone from the outside to say, hey, did you try this? Did you think about this? To have someone hold us accountable to the things that we were going to say, to remind us that it's not our shame and our guilt that we need to hold on to. Having that outside source is so important when we're looking at healing and changing those negative patterns. Accountability and living in integrity. Those are the biggest things that I can think of because when we look at it, the integrity, we are not living our best lives. We are not living in integrity when we are staying in these toxic relationships that are not helping us be our best versions of ourselves.